Hi all. The question we are going to look at today is this. Please pause this video and read the full question and answers. Then figure out which is the correct answer. After finding it, let us know in the comment section if you identify the correct answer. Let me read the question for you. A well-established enterprise uses an internal LDAP-based directory service to handle user authentication access control for its employees. So basically it is using LDAP-based directory service. And this company is developing a mobile application through which the users will log in and access AWS console and resources. So basically the employees are going to access AWS from their mobile application. Due to stringent compliance standards, the application must rely on a custom developed authentication mechanism. So this is also clear. So additionally, the app should utilize IAM rules to grant users the necessary permissions for accessing AWS services. So the key points are the company is using LDAP based directory service, mobile application to access AWS resources, and we need to build a custom authentication solution, and you have to use IAM rules for permissions. So let's go through the first option. It says develop a custom authentication service. Okay, we have to build a custom authentication service that supports SAML. Okay, possible. Use AWS SSO to manage authorization and grant access to resources. This option is not correct because it says we have to use AWS SSO service, but that service supports single sign-on through web browsers only. Since we were asked to use mobile applications, so basically we can't use SSO, AWS SSO service to grant federated access from mobile applications. So that will be supported only through web browsers. So this option is not correct. So the second option says create an OEDC compliant identity provider for handling authentications. Okay, this is a custom solution, OEDC based. Integrate it with Amazon Cognito identity pools to assign IAM rules and authorize AWS access. So this is possible. So the Amazon Cognito allows integration with OEDC providers. So here you can see under AWS IAM, you have this option of configuring different identity providers. So this one is SAML provider, and what you're seeing here is the OADC provider. So basically you can configure an OADC provider through IAM. So first we have to set up an OADC provider in the IAM console. Then that can be linked to a Cognito identity pool. So what you're seeing on the right hand side is the screenshot from Amazon Cognito identity pools. So you can see that you can use OADC based provider. The Cognito identity pools then issue temporary AWS credentials to the users using which they will be able to access AWS resources. So this option is correct. Third one is implement a custom integration layer using Amazon API Gateway and AWS Lambda. Okay, we are using API Gateway, AWS Lambda serverless to connect with the LDAP for authentication. Store session tokens in Amazon DynamoDB and build a Lambda function to verify user permissions based on stored tokens. Though this is possible, it is not advisable to store the auth tokens permanently in DynamoDB. They have to be generated whenever the user is authenticated. So storing DynamoDB permanently is not advisable, and they should be stored only for a limited duration. So this option is not the ideal one. The fourth option, build an OEDC compliant identity solution and use it together with the AWS SSO to facilitate both authentication and authorization for mobile users. So AWS SSO, that service supports only applications that use SAML 2.0. It does not support OADC. So this option is also not correct. Finally, the last option, design a custom identity provider that supports SAML. Okay, possible. Configure it to authenticate users via LDAP and use SAML assertions to grant permissions through IAM rules. So this is possible. The requirement basically is The user should log into when they log into their mobile application, they should be redirected to the identity provider, and the identity provider, after getting the username and password from the user, they will verify that with LDAP identity store. If they match, then it will return you a SAML assertion, and then you have to pass that SAML assertion to IAM. A SAML assertion is then required to obtain authorization token from the IAM identity provider. So basically, we are passing it to IAM, and then that is going to give you the temporary credentials. You have to set up IAM roles, and the user will be assuming those IAM roles. They will get temporary credentials, and then after a series of redirects, they will be logged in directly to the AWS management console, and then they will be able to access AWS resources. So this option is correct. So finally, these two are the correct options. That is option number 2 and option number 5. Thank you.